one of my very favorite things to make ever, pasta. We're going to be making Garganelli with a mushroom and sausage ragu. It's a sauce that is hearty and thick and that has been built up with lots of layers of flavor. All right, so 1 pound of flour directly on your board. And we're gonna make a big hole in this. This is what we call a well. So we have 4 whole eggs, 1 egg yolk. You can go back and forth in the shell, and we let sort of all the whites just fall out. A big sprinkle of salt, and then we have olive oil. So once our eggs start to be beaten, then we start to go around the outside and we start to incorporate the flour. You just start to get everybody really nicely combined. And this is fun. This is like arts and crafts. When you're working with flour, it's temperamental. And my pasta feels very dry. All right, so we're just gonna add a little bit of water to this. I'm adding just a little bit in there. So eventually, this is going to be as smooth and supple as my cheek. You need to knead it. I'm using the heels of my hands and I am stretching it. Get right on top of it, and as it gets kind of longer, then pull it back, fold it on itself, and go in the other direction. And you can feel free to let out some uhs if you want. The old ladies in Italy say that you should knead your pasta till your loins sweat. I'll leave that up to you guys to decide. All right, we're just about where I need to be. Now look at, when I poke my dough, it springs right back up. Okay, so we wrap it in plastic, and we're giving it a timeout. You relax. So now we're gonna bounce over here into thinking about our sausage and mushroom ragu. I have 1 onion. I have 2 ribs of celery, 2 carrots, 3 garlics, and I have cremini mushrooms. So I'm gonna take my mushroom stems. This is something that a lot of times I just throw out, but we're gonna use those flavors. So I'm just coarsely chopping them, getting them in my food processor, and then we're gonna get it into our pan and we're gonna take our time and brown it and scrape the crud off and brown it. And this is where we get the big, huge, rich flavors. That's it. All right, olive oil in the bottom to cover, and we just get all of this right in there, okay? And you can go on a pretty high heat here. Salt, crushed red pepper. All right, we're gonna let this go. We wanna really brown this nicely. So I'm gonna get my mushrooms in here. I want them to kind of break up a little bit to let out their mushroom juices. I'm gonna give them some salt too. I have Italian sausage, sweet and hot. Make sure that it's spread out evenly on the bottom of your pan, right? Because only what is touching your pan is cooking. But I'm gonna give this a little tiny drink of wine right now just to help scrape this crud off the bottom so this doesn't burn. Actually, this is where I'm gonna add about 1/3 of a bottle of wine, and we reduce it by half, right? Or even more so. And when it does that, that's when the alcohol will cook out too. My next step, I'm gonna add some tomato paste. Starting to smell really good. It looks brown. So now I'm going to add my chicken stock, and I'm gonna add it just to about the surface, and then I'm gonna let it cook down, and then I'll add a little bit more. All right, a little more salt in there. All right, I have a thyme bundle. So we just tie it together with lots of string and bay leaves. And so we want to see like the jacuzzi rather than the whitewater rapids. So in the meantime, while that's working a little bit, let's just think about salting our pasta water. All right, now it's time to roll out the pasta, one of my favorite parts. Let's start off with sort of a manageable size piece, about 1/4. I'm just squashing my piece of pasta first to sort of help it go through there, right? So, let's start it, you push it through. Look, Ma, no hands. So we put it through on number 1. So I'm going to give it a little dusting of flour. All right, so look at, I folded it like a letter. Give it another squish. And then I'm putting it through in the other direction. Still on number 1. Now I'm gonna flour it one more time. Actually, I'm gonna fold it like a letter again. All right, put it through again on number 1. And now I move on to number 2. Number 2, so what that does is make these rollers closer together. It's gonna make our pasta sheet longer. It will feed itself through. We always catch it on the back of our hand, not the front of our hands, because if we do, we leave stretch marks and those are never good. So then we go to number 3. So just while that's happening, oh look, I can bounce over and give this a stir. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, all the numbers, we're not skipping any. So now I'm going to number 5. Look how beautiful it is, right? I'm gonna cut this into manageable lengths, cut diagonals, and then take off the edges and then cut right down the center. So this is semolina flour. This we put on the tray where our pasta is going to wind up so it doesn't stick together. So look at, put your stick from long point to long point, or roll it back towards one side, then roll it up towards the other point, give it a little water, a little glue, and then roll it back and forth on this stick to really make it stick. That's one piece. We gotta make enough for a whole portion. All right, so then once you get into this, go into the pasta factory. All right? Then when you get to here, that's the glue that holds it together. So, and after a while, you can get pretty quick at it. So, look at these guys, right into our salty boiling water. I'm gonna take some sauce on the side. I wanna bring this sauce to a boil. So our fresh pasta is a really pretty fast cook. It's better to undercook it in your water and then it will continue cooking in your sauce. Now, I'm gonna let a little bit of the pasta water go in there as well. All right, so I'm gonna toss these around. I'm gonna add a little bit more of the saucy part of my sauce here. All right, so now I'm gonna add just a little bit more of my pasta water to this. We are gonna actually finish our pasta with really high quality olive oil and Parmesan. All right, turn off the burner. And so what this does also is makes like your dish of pasta super aromatic, okay? And then I'm gonna plate this. All right, so I'm gonna top with a little bit more Parmigiano and a little dollop of fresh ricotta cheese. And then you can stir this all into your ragu and it's so delicious. And just for fun, olive oil. Here we go, finished. You guys ready to try it?
Yeah.